We're going to go to Jackie Collins here, author of Drop Dead Beautiful. And is she on?
Yes, she is.
Jackie, are you there?
I'm here, buddy. How are you?
Jackie, it is a real thrill for me to talk to you. Can I tell you that?
Well, I'm delighted to hear that.
I've always kind of had a thing for you.
He's schwitzing.
I know.
I like that. That's great.
I hope you do like it because it always drives me nuts. Now, your sister's Joan Collins, who's beautiful and an icon. I've always had the thing for you. I've always thought that you are stunning and you have this really Cheshire cat, beautiful smile, and you're so witty, and so I'm happy to be talking to you today.
Well, thank you. I'm very flattered to hear that. That's really nice.
I think this is as close as I'm ever going to get to you, but I'll take what I can get. You got to take what you can get in life and love it.
Amen.
Yeah, but you can read my books, you see. That brings you very close to me.
But Jackie, now your new book is Drop Dead Beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Help me if I get anything wrong because I'm not a facts guy. Okay. So it's coming out June 26th?
It's coming out June 26th. I'm launching it this week in Las Vegas.
Wow.
The city where anything can happen. And they're giving me my own slot machine at Harrah's Hotel.
Ooh.
And it's going to be Jackie Collins Day. And Drop Dead Beautiful is about Lucky Santangelo. I'm bringing her back.
Now what happened?
I know who you probably do like, Nicolette Sheridan, who played Lucky in my miniseries of Lucky Chances a few years ago.
Yeah, Nicolette isn't bad. I've actually met her in person, and she's easy on the eyes. Can I tell you that?
Yeah, she's also a terrific girl. I like her a lot.
You do?
And Kim Delaney played her. You know, Kim Delaney, who's now in Army Wives.
I'm Irish.
She played Lucky in Lady Boss, yeah.
Now, Emma is here on the board. We have a text chat board here, so people are making comments. So I may make a U-turn on you and just come at you with something.
Okay.
Now, Emma here is saying that Jackie is so pretty, just so you know.
Oh, that's nice. Thanks, Emma.
And L.A. Vutenhauser says that she's read the Lucky book, and she likes your characters. So
that's nice.
Now, let's talk about something for a second, because going back, how many of these books have you written over whatever number years?
Well, I have written, this is my 25th book, but I've written 6 books about the Lucky Santangelo family.
Wow.
So, you know, my readers get very vested in the character of the Santangelos. They love Gino, who's 95 in this book, and Lucky's daughter Max, who's a wild one, is 16. And Lucky is just as dynamic as ever. She's opening a new casino in Las Vegas, and she's being pursued by this deadly enemy. He's probably the worst guy I've ever written, called Anthony Bona, who is the grandson of Enzio Bonatti, whom Lucky did away with in a previous book.
Well, the great thing about your books, you've got this series of books, you don't give us some bullshit ending like The Sopranos.
Oh, God, I was so upset by that.
Who wasn't?
I mean, like everybody else in the country, I leaped up. I said, my TiVo has let me down.
Exactly.
I was so pissed off. I mean, furious.
What was that? It's a TV series. It's not a David Lynch film that we're going to have coffee afterward and talk about it for 6 hours. What it all meant.
I know. I would like to have had a little satisfaction with that ending, but I didn't. But I'll tell you the best show on television is Rescue Me.
I don't even know that show. What show is that?
What?
Dennis Leary. It's
yeah.
Yeah. It just came back for a new series, and it's fantastic.
Really?
He's so great in it. He's the best.
Huh. Well, have you seen The Tudors yet? The series on Showtime?
You know, it's a little slow for me. I like something a little more
action-packed.
Immediate.
Yeah. No, I agree. Now, the interesting about you, I want to get your take on it, because the way I see you, that the world has changed in the last few years, where everything now is instant. It's TMZ. All of the things that you were writing about years ago in these books, the hedonistic Hollywood and the drugs and the sex and the cheating wives and husbands and all of this stuff that a lot of people always just thought was, it's made up, it's exaggerated.
Yeah.
Now it's like your stuff is tame compared to what's really happening on a daily basis.
Yeah, you know what? I mean, I look around at the headlines and I go, wow, this is crazy. I remember writing about a movie star maybe 10 years ago, and I said he got, $1 million for a movie, and everybody said to me, what movie star's going to get $1 million? And now they're getting $20 million and a piece of the action.
Yeah.
Every which way.
But I mean, the hedonistic stuff, the everything that's going on, the guy who's who's really gay, but he's got a beard, and they're adopting kids, and I mean, just all this stuff that doesn't happen in the rest of the country.
Well, I've always said that truth is much stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
And yet, when people review my books, they still go, "Oh, it's so shocking. There's sex on every page." And I'm thinking, I'm not writing sex on every page. What are they reading? Because, a book, it makes people's imagination work. It's not like watching a movie or television. Your imagination goes into overdrive because you see the characters. And when I'm writing about the characters, I want you to be vested in them. And then when they have sex, you are using your imagination. And I might not take you too far in the book, but your imagination is going to take you even further.
Well, I think that's the best sex, is psychological. It's that. See, we know we're connecting on multiple levels.
We're connecting here.
We're both writers. There's a lot going on here, Jackie. My wife is actually my wife is the entertainment writer for Time magazine, but we haven't been getting along very well.
Oh,
so
start using your imagination.
I hope she's listening.
Oh,
listen.
Well,
so
I've always said that the pleasure you give is the pleasure you get back tenfold.
Now, this is kind of eerie because I just said that to my wife the other day.
No, you're kidding.
I say it all the time. You get what you give. I actually, as a comic, I used to go out, if I was warming up an audience, I'd go on out and I'd say, listen, you get what you give. If you give a lot of energy, these performers are going to feed off it, and you're going to get it back tenfold.
Absolutely.
Oh, my gosh.
And you know what? I give my readers, I give them my passion, because I have a passion for the characters I write. I really love what I do, and I don't do it for the money. I mean, the money is great, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I have to get up in the morning and I have to create characters that I love to write about. And my biggest critics are the people who've never read me.
Right.
And they go, "Oh, Jackie Collins, it's all sex and raunch," but it's not. It's the characters that you're interested in. And if you didn't like the characters, you wouldn't care what they did in bed or be interested in them.
Yeah, but Jackie, why don't you write more screenplays? Why aren't you interested in taking these stories and various stories and doing films? Is it something that just didn't interest you?
You should say that, because I just signed a deal with Fremantle, who, they own American Idol.
Oh,
and they came to me and they said, "We'd love to produce some stuff with you, some original series." And so we're currently working on American Star, which is one of my books, adapting it for a movie. And also I'm creating a new series called Rich Girls.
Ooh. Ah, very good.
Yeah.
Well, that seems like it's a natural to have you do those types of things.
It's about, the it girls in Hollywood and the club scene, and of which I know plenty because my husband used to own discotheques.
Wait a second. Did you just say your husband? Are you already cheating on me?
No, I'm not cheating on you. Unfortunately, he passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Prostate cancer before it became the popular disease that everybody knows everything about.
Yeah.
So, but he was a great guy, and he had all these fabulous discotheques where all the, the Beatles and the Stones and Eric Clapton used to hang out.
Oh, really?
So I know plenty about that whole scene. In fact, I wrote a book called Rockstar.
That's right. But what do you think about what's going on now, comparatively? It's like, for me, it's Hollywood light. You got a lot of people who are famous for doing nothing, and it used to be that you'd be famous for a skill. You write, so you're famous. Your sister is an actress. She's famous. A famous doctor, a famous scientist, a famous reporter. Now, someone just is from a family and they're rich, or they date somebody who's famous and they get a reality series about nothing, and now they're famous and people want to be like them.
Well, you know what? The media creates them in the first place.
Right.
I mean, if the media wasn't chasing them everywhere and putting their photographs in all the magazines, they wouldn't be famous. So there must be a need for it. I think people like to, it's almost like, in the Roman days when they would throw people to the lions. Well, it's almost like that now. They want to create people and then throw them to the lions and cheer when they get torn to pieces.
Yeah,
So I think it's kind of sad. I mean, I know all those girls, and individually they're great girls, but when they get together in a pack and go out drinking and driving, it ain't good.
Well, but what's wrong with these girls? Paris Hilton is a girl who's got means. She's got an entourage. People can drive her. How about $20 for a cab ride somewhere? I don't understand why this even began. Why? And you probably know her. and know more about it than I do. But what's your take on all that's happening with her?
Well, my take is that the people are being, she's been punished too much, Apparently the guy that insisted she went back into jail, his wife did the same thing a couple of years ago.
Right.
And he's a councilman, and apparently she was just, given a little fine and a slap on the wrist. So I think the punishment does not fit the crime. But what I'm more interested in is why was Phil Spector sitting in his house for 4 years, not under house arrest, not with an ankle bracelet, before he came into court and he allegedly murdered a woman.
Well, allegedly, yeah. I mean, and I got a feeling he's going to get off.
If I wrote this, I'm telling you, Marty, if I wrote this, nobody would believe it. If I wrote the Anna Nicole Smith story, nobody would believe it. I take real-life situations and I tone them down in my books and I make an interesting story and interesting characters. But the real truth is too shocking because people would go, oh, no, characters do not behave like that. People do not behave like that.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason why your books are popular, because you do have stories and well fleshed out characters, and the actions are motivated. There's a reason, and I think it's a real problem with the movies right now that they push situations and characters on you that aren't real, and you're just supposed to suspend reality and say, oh, okay, the character did that because the writer wrote it, but I just watched an hour-and-a-half movie and it's completely contrary to his character, and people applaud it, and I think people are tired of it, and that's why a lot of the people that are especially over 40 aren't going to the movies, but they'll read your book.
I think you're right. I don't think there's a lot of great movies out there. I mean, I certainly don't want to go and see Hostel. Do you? Ooh, I don't want to see women tortured and murdered on screen.
Mm-mm. Well, I think I'm more interested in the story. You don't have the Alfred Hitchcock stories anymore that they're psychological. That just as you described, that you're not putting blatant sexual things on every page of your book. You're setting people up and their minds take you to a place that you couldn't even write, that nobody can.
Yeah, I mean, in Drop Dead Beautiful, you have a murder, but the murder happens for a reason. You have this villain. I guess he's the worst villain I've ever written, Anthony Bona, and he does despicable things. But he does them for a reason, and you understand. And
so do I. I have reasons why I do despicable things. Give us one despicable thing that he does in this book that's interesting that people might latch on to.
I don't know. Do you censor me? I mean,
no. It's the internet, so you can say anything.
Oh yeah, I can say anything.
And the great thing is, you have that lovely British accent that you can drop
so
F-bombs like
too rude.
No, you drop F-bombs like crazy, and it sounds like you're ready to, you're at the Queen's tea.
No, he has two mistresses, two gorgeous mistresses. He has one in Miami, one in New York. He has a wife that he keeps shut away in a villa outside of Mexico City. And yet, when he goes to Vegas, he feels the need to have a girl for the night. So he asks the lesbian owner of one of the hotels to fix him up with a girl. And she fixes him up with a girl, not a slut, not a hooker, a girl who just likes sex. And that's fine in this day and age. Women like sex as much as men do. So she fixes him up with this girl, and they're in the middle of having sex, and he asks her to do something which she doesn't want to do. He asks her, and she asks him, and he doesn't want to do that, and he ends up slapping her, and unfortunately, something very unfortunate happens, but you have to read the book.
I can guess one of her fillings got knocked out. All right, we'll call that.
Oh, my characters don't have fillings.
I love that. They have porcelain enamels. That's great. Now, we've got here, Nikki is here, and she's asking a question. We have a lot of writers, directors, and people, and we're going out to 26 different countries. So,
oh, wow, that's fabulous.
It is, and they're texting in questions, and a lot of people just listen to, and they don't text in. But Nikki has a question, and she's saying, when you're sitting getting ready to start your book, and you're staring at the blank page or screen, what is the first thing you do to get the ball rolling on the writing? List ideas? Do you have a topic? What's your main approach or motivation?
Well, Nikki, when I start a book, and I've just started a new book because I'm launching Drop Dead Beautiful now, but I've started my new book already, and I was on the plane to Australia. I just came back from Australia, and I was on the plane, and I thought, wow, I want to write a girl like she's like 25 and she's a fitness instructor and she's got an abusive husband and she flees Maui where he was a surf instructor and she comes to LA and she's going to hook up or affect the lives of 3 very high-profile couples in LA. And that idea just came to me on the plane, so I named her Cameron Paradise, which I think is kind of a cool name. And then I just started to write. I couldn't stop.
How long does it take you to write a book?
Well, I write in longhand, and
oh, really?
I use the computer for many things.
Right.
Like I love the internet for, finding out all the gossip and going to iTunes and iPhoto and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm writing, it's kind of that connection between my hand and the paper, and I like my handwriting, and I like writing, I like to be able to write on planes and by the pool and out in the car and anywhere I am. I don't want to have to depend on a machine,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes me about 9 months. It's like having a baby.
Wow.
And then you launch that baby into the world.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
Sometimes just as painful. Yeah, I love what I do. I've got a passion for it, and I think anybody out there, and there's probably a lot of people listening to you, especially if you're in 26 countries, a lot of people out there want to write a book, and my advice to them would be, think of what you want to write about, preferably write about something that you know, a subject that you know really well, and then sit down every day and write 1 page, and whether it's good or bad, at the end of the year you'll have a book, and then you can go back and rewrite and do all of that, but don't just think about it, do it.
Well, I think that's great advice, because I had someone tell me the other day that they were going to write a movie about being a pool hustler, and I said, that's great. I said, you shoot pool? No. You spend any time in pool halls? No. You from the East Coast? You from a bad neighborhood? No. But he saw The Hustler, so he thought it was a great idea. So that was motivating. And it's like, okay, that's fresh. First of all, you're copying another movie, but you know. But I think that's great advice on anything. What are you passionate about in anything in life?
Yeah. Because I've read books about Hollywood that are written by people who are interviewed, and they go, yeah, well, I've never been to Hollywood, but I know what it's like because I've read the Inquirer, and I got a map of Hollywood, so I know where all the streets are. And you're like, give me a break,
Yeah.
And then they're shocked that their book doesn't sell. And I have people who say to me, oh, I'm going to write a Jackie Collins book. Well, I don't even know what a Jackie Collins book is. There's no formula. I just do what I want to do. I've written a lot of Hollywood books, like Hollywood Kids and Hollywood Wives and Hollywood Divorces, but then I've written these Santangelo books, of which there are 6. And then I've written books about relationships, like The Stud and The Bitch and Thrill and those kind of books. And
you wrote books about me and my wife?
The Stud and the Bitch?
Yeah, The Stud and the Bitch. That is amazing.
I see.
That's amazing.
You're going to have a good supper tonight.
Yeah, I know. I think she's got the volume turned down.
My first book was called The World is Full of Married Men, because I was hit on everywhere I went in my pre-marriage days by married men.
I think that you still get hit on, and after you were married, I think that you were still hit on.
Yeah, well, all women are hit on all the time.
Amen,
but,
sister.
All these married men, literally, the best man at my wedding chased me round the table.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding.
That's right.
Yeah, my husband was in rehab at the time. He went straight from the wedding to the rehab.
That's really nice. He wanted to comfort you. It's terrible.
Yeah, he was going to comfort me, but meanwhile he's chasing me around the table. So I got this idea to write this book called The World is Full of Married Men, because they would all have the same thing to say. They would all go, well, I would say, well, what about your wife? And they'd go, oh, my wife is different. They all thought their wife was different, like she was some vestal virgin sitting at home waiting for their, services.
Isn't that
so?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, writing about the double standard has always been very intriguing to me, and I'm sure there's a lot of women out there whose husband have cheated on them, and they don't quite know what to do about it. And to be very controversial, I'll say if your husband cheats on you, cheat right back on him.
Now that is retribution. That's all I'm talking about. Fair play. Fair play.
Yeah, fair
For an
play.
eye.
Well,
Exactly.
what is that about? Because most guys that I know, I had a friend, and he met a girl at a dance club, and he called me. He said, "Oh man, I met this girl last night. She was unbelievable, and she had this mini skirt, and she was busting out of her top, and every guy wanted her, and we danced all night, and I went out with her." 3 months later, dating. He's depressed. I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "Oh, we go out. She wears these mini skirts and she's busting out of her top, and every guy's staring at her." And I said,
I love it.
What is wrong with
funny.
you?" And it's true. It's his property now. That's his girl. He doesn't want the other guys competing. And I'm sick. I like the guys that look at the girl that I'm with.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That means you're doing something right.
Good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, everybody wants what they can't have, don't they?
Well, and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And men are very different than women. They're very trophy-oriented.
Well, in a way, yeah. But, women like sex just as much as men do.
More.
And men had gotten away with it for so long, going, "Oh, honey, I was in Chicago, and it was just a one-night thing, and it didn't mean anything because I loved you, I didn't love her." And that was supposed to be accepted in society.
Right.
But women finally got wise to that. And when I wrote this book, The World is Full of Married Men, I turned the double standard on its head, and somebody in England wrote this half-page article in a newspaper with a heading, "This is the most shocking book I've ever read."
Yeah. Now, do you think that men can be faithful? Because the truth is, when I talk to guys, most guys, they really do love their wives. They love their kids. They love their family. They don't want that to change. But they're not satisfied with their sex lives, or their wives are preoccupied with the household and the things-to-do list, and it kind of gets away with them. And they do want to go have that meaningless sex with women. What is your take on can men?
Well, my take on that is that women feel the same way.
Right.
Sometimes they've got the husband coming home, all he wants to do, he's had a tough day, he puts on the television, he wants a beer, he doesn't want to be bothered. They also have sexual fantasies about finding that hot guy that they might have a one-night fling with that doesn't mean anything. So if you want to have a successful marriage, neither of you act on it.
Good advice. I think that's great advice.
It's like being on a diet, and you see this fantastic chocolate cake, and you know you've got to have a piece of that chocolate cake. You know it's calling to you. It's just so great. And then you have that one slice. What do? You go back and have another slice and another slice.
Right. You've opened Pandora's box.
And that will be the marriage gone.
It's calling to you or screaming to you, depending on who you are.
Exactly. But this is what I'm going to write about in Married Lovers, because I'm going to have... I was sitting at this party in Hollywood the other day, and this very well-placed executive said to me exactly what you just said.
Right.
He said, "I love my wife. I'm very happy with her. I just need something else. I need something else." What he needs is, to pay more attention to his wife and go off and role-play with her. Role-playing is great.
You should be a therapist.
I would have been a great shrink.
You would have been a great shrink, but I want you to know it's dangerous because my wife and I both have safe people. We have a list of people that if we ever meet and it's okay, we can go fool around with. And you're at the top of my list. So if you see me in my 79 SL Mercedes following you around Beverly Hills, just know I'm not some weird guy. I need
know that I'm safe, right?
You're on my list. I need to talk to you.
If I wasn't a writer, I would have been a bartender or a shrink.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
good plan.
People tell me so much stuff, and I understand men extremely well because I don't know. A lot of my male friends. Yeah, a lot of my male friends treat me like one of the guys. I'm one of the boys.
But the thing is that you're not a judgmental person, and when even talking to you here, you're not uptight. You're open-minded, and you have a great sense of humor. And I think that frees people up to tell you what they really think. Most people are very judgmental.
Yeah, you're right. It's like when you have a political argument with people,
right,
and they're completely judgmental about their views, and they don't want to hear anybody else's, and they get all upset. And instead of having a discussion, I believe in discussions. I believe in everybody's point of view, listening to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we got to wrap it up because we got to get going, and we want to tell people here it's Jackie Collins' book, Drop Dead Beautiful. It's out June 26th. Jackie, we're posting here your website so people can go and get any information on where to buy it or where you're going to be.
Yeah, because there's fun stills on the website of Nicolette playing Lucky and Kim Delaney playing Lucky and, Robin Givens in Hollywood Wives, The New Generation with Farrah Fawcett and and it's kind of a fun website if you want to look at all the old stills and stuff.
Yeah, they've got it here, and we've got pictures posted of you all over here of all your different books, you and your sister.
Oh, great.
Yeah, everything here, so people really enjoy that. Now, before we go, can you give us some kind of station break announcing that we'll play that you're Jackie Collins and you listen to Hollywood Babylon, and if you want to say something about one of your characters or something, that would be great.
Okay. Let me think.
I love her.
She's got the greatest voice and sexy
Jackie
voice
Collins.
ever. I'm all messed up now.
I'm all hot and bothered.
The name of the show is Hollywood
okay,
Babylon.
Whenever you're ready.
Go. Yeah. Hollywood Babylon is the name of the show. Go ahead, anytime.
Hi, you're going to listen to Hollywood Babylon with Marty, and believe me, you're going to have so much fun. This is Jackie Collins. I'm talking about my new book, Drop Dead Beautiful, and Sex and Lust. So let's go for it.
All right.
I love it.
You're the best.
Okay.
All right,
Love
Jackie,
it.
thank you so much. Good luck on your book. I appreciate you
Thank you. I
taking the
really
time.
enjoyed this. That was really nice.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Bye-bye.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.